Oscars last night. Did you watch them?
Oh. I watched all the clips after the fact.
I see. Well, I watched the entire thing in real time with Courtney, who will join us
Okay.
at the bottom of the hour right after Kim's news for Mark's Murder Mystery Monday. And she won't actually go into a murder today that deals with someone who was left out of the in memoriam last night
Oh.
and is a show business figure. And I'm talking about Robert Blake. Robert Blake, who just died. He was Beretta.
What?
Yeah. He was involved. I'll let her tell the story. And because I frankly don't remember the story super clearly, he was involved in and accused of I don't mean to chuckle, it was just it was a weird story. The death of his wife and the murder of his wife. So we'll get to Courtney bottom of the hour, but we watched the show in real time. And I'll tell you, I thought it was a pretty good show. I know it's not popular to say that, but I thought Jimmy Kimmel was brilliant. I thought he was just terrific.
Awesome.
Yeah. He was irreverent enough
Yeah.
that he was himself, Jimmy Kimmel, but he was not so irreverent that it doesn't any longer seem as though he enjoys the movies or the world of Hollywood. I mean, after all, you are there to celebrate movies. You know, the Oscars are stupid, right? We've talked about this before. Any kind of award show where you compare works of art, I mean, these are creative endeavors and you're comparing them. I can say to you, I enjoyed this movie more than that movie, but that's not saying that that movie's better. It's just saying that for me, or you hear people say this, you know, Kim, I think you'd like women talking more than you'd like, right? Or I think you'd like one movie over another. But they wouldn't say this movie's better than the other if they really are respectful to the creative endeavors involved. You can't say a Da Vinci is better than a Michelangelo. I mean, they're different. If they were both painting the same thing, then maybe you could compare them. But they don't. Everything, Everywhere, All at Once can't be compared to All Quiet on the Western Front. Anyway,
Right.
But with that said, it is a celebration of Hollywood. It was started as a promotion for Hollywood, and it's turned into this thing. They call it the Academy, as I've mentioned to you before. It's the most ridiculous thing, but it's called the Academy. Great branding, because it sounds like a really august institution. But I thought he still respected all of that while being irreverent, you know?
Yeah.
He
was just rude enough.
Thank you. Just rude enough. That's exactly it. And I thought the show was fine. I mean, it's long. You have to really be in for, the long haul.
Yeah.
And if you haven't seen a bunch of these movies, and let's face it, some of us haven't, I mean, even if you've seen all the major feature films, the shorts, the animated stuff, the documentaries, some of these other things, get away from you. It's really hard to take in all that content. It made me want to see all the shorts and documentaries and stuff, But
did you see the awkward interview that Hugh Grant gave on the red carpet?
I did. I saw it live. and tell everybody what you're talking about, because it was pretty great.
So he's, the typical red carpet interview, like, who are you wearing? Are you enjoying being here? Is there anyone that you're hoping will win tonight? Oh, I loved you in Glass Onion. His answers were stilted, awkward. When she said, I loved you in Glass Onion, he was like, I was only in it for like 2 minutes.
Yeah.
When she said, who are you wearing? He said, my suit. When he said,
okay, go ahead. You finish, and then I'll tell you why I think Hugh Grant, it was reasonable.
It was extraordinarily awkward. It was like she was pulling teeth trying to interview him. He wasn't giving her anything.
Kim is right. He was not there to help her out. And
they do this to me all the time. I don't know what the hell they do it for.
Yeah. If
he
you're
actually
gonna stop
rolled
for
rolled his eyes as he walked away. I was like, oh God, that was bad.
If you're going to stop, there are two ways to look at this.
Yeah.
One is, if you're going to stop for a red carpet interview, you should be up for whatever they ask, you're going to turn it into something. You know what I mean? That's just part of the game.
You just don't get it, do you?
Yeah, right, exactly.
You don't.
That's the game. The other thing you should know, though, is that as an interviewer, when different people come through your world, you should have questions that you can direct to them that are not super generic, like, who are you wearing? First of all, come on, the dude's wearing a basic tux. that's a sign she's kind of out of question. So I
Right.
say bad on her for that question. Number two, he's right. He was only in Glass Onion but he could have done more with that. He could have said, well, I was only in it for a couple of minutes, but I'm glad the movie turned out so well. Certainly so much fun. And then she said, well, you had fun doing it, didn't you? I mean, that was kind of like you could see her take on water and not really have the ability to get herself out. And I said to Courtney, I said this. Here's what you want to say, not are you rooting for anybody to win? No one wants to answer a question like that.
Right.
I mean, it's just not, because they're all in the community of artists involved in feature filmmaking, okay? So again, this is if you don't view the whole thing as stupid and blah, 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 blah. So there he is, Hugh Grant with her, but in the still picture. But please don't show more, because I'll be demonetized or whatever if I show anything more. But but what you should say is, did you see anything this year that stood out to you? What were some of your favorite movies and you can begin to do it that way. I know in addition to being an actor in movies, you must enjoy going to the movies. Is there anything that you've seen that you particularly liked? What are a few of the films that you liked? You can take it out of I said this at the moment, so this isn't something I mean, it's not that hard.
Right.
And I thought the interviewer was overmatched. She just didn't know. I mean, what are you wearing? Who are you rooting for tonight? Those are lame questions, and they put him in a tough spot.
I maintain that he's been an actor for a long time. He's wandered down a lot of these red carpets. He's done a lot of these interviews over the years. And it shouldn't matter how stupid the question.
Okay.
You can
That's fair.
turn an answer around, and you can, if someone says, are you rooting for anyone to win tonight? You can say, I saw a lot of really good movies this year. Here's some of the ones I enjoyed. You can take the question and answer, give it a completely different answer, even if it was the lamest question in history.
That's a fair point.
So, I mean, he's experienced enough that he didn't have to tank that interview.
I agree with that.
He's not there for her. He's there for the fans that want to see him.
All right, I stand corrected.
I stand corrected.
All right,
If I'm a Hugh Grant fan, I know that he has a history of not being the nicest guy, right? But if I'm a Hugh Grant fan, I want to see, I'm interested in the interview. I want to see what he has to say. I'm excited to see him on screen. He could have done more with that, just for himself and his own fans.
Yeah, I think you're probably right. I mean, it does sort of, the responsibility falls to him.
I've told you, it's never easy being in this business.
Yeah, they had a bunch of newcomers doing the red carpet thing. I know that if you only watch the event, you didn't get this. But they do a red carpet thing. It's also on the network, Yeah. And it was all these influencers. That's who they are. It's not movie people anymore. It's people with 15 million followers on Instagram. That's what they want. They want to bring in a new audience, and you do it through people who have they had a guy backstage who has 15 million followers on TikTok. Okay? So what movies has he been in? None. He's never been in a movie set, probably, but he's been on TikTok, and he's incredibly popular, and we want to bring in TikTok viewers. So you see how producers are reaching out for more. So the woman who was interviewing Hugh Grant isn't someone who's done this a jillion times. No. And so I think you're right, Kim. He probably should have thrown her a line, thrown her a lifeline. So it's a fair point.
And, I'll say that we're now YouTubers, which at one point I would have thought was kind of for young people, like for the teens among us, the early 20 crowd, the influencer crowd. And so I guess I have to think of it differently, that yes, it's a different platform. We might be YouTubers or what have you, but we still carry the same skills, and we still carry the same, I don't know, I would like to say, and maybe it's, putting a braggadocious spin on it, but kind of gravitas as a longtime broadcasters, right? Yeah. And so I guess I don't think you can say, oh, well, he's only a TikToker. Well, I'm only a YouTuber. I can handle that red carpet pretty well. So could you?
No. Don't misunderstand me. I was trying to say two things. One is that these are not people who have a history in film. Or being around film. They're not film critics. They used to have Roger Ebert do it, for example. I mean, that was many years ago. But
maybe they're not interviewers professionally.
But that's the second point, that they're not. Yeah. They're not. Second point, they're not used to this particular scene. So it is like,
what can you tell us about the scene?
The idea is that from that standpoint, they're fish out of water. On the other hand, I would have loaded. I said this to Courtney. You can tell it's horrible watching things like this with me. But I would have said, if you're a producer, you tell them ahead of time. Here's a basic question you can always default to, and it's not what are you wearing, who are you wearing.
Right.
It's I know you enjoy the movies, and or I'm sure you enjoy the movies, if you want to say it that way. What were some of your favorite movies in either from this field, this or other Oscar seasons? What have you enjoyed seeing? What kind of movies do you like? Stuff like that. Keep it about the movies, you know. It was a lot about what did you do today? You know what I mean? Anyway, that was the. Remember, she kept asking that question. What was your day like? And then he goes, well, it was kind of like a normal day. Blah blah blah. Having said that, that was before the show started. Once the show started, I thought they moved it at a pretty good pace. Everything, everywhere, all at once. You saw that, Kim? That movie?
I tried to see it. I stopped halfway through.
Exactly.
I couldn't.
Okay.
You're talking about how, you don't always like the movies that win. And it was too many multiverses and I couldn't keep track of them all. And I just thought this movie's too complicated. And I'm not.
If you need to explain the movie to so many people, then it's a fail on the part of the film. And this is a really weird thing to say the day after this movie
won
has
everything.
just swept
Yeah.
the Oscars. But I'm going to go try again to watch it. I feel it was a fail on my part because I didn't get it. I thought All Quiet on the Western Front was a spectacular. It was almost orchestral in its virtuosity in every way, cinematically, from a writing standpoint, from an acting and performance standpoint. And the lead, it was his first movie, and I didn't know that till last night. So
Well, it won Best International Film, right?
yeah, which is the way that they screw over. They screwed over what's his name? Who did they screw over the same way with the International? They did that a few years back.
I forget, but I know what you mean.
Who's the? He's the Latino. They screwed the Latino man. You remember the one I'm talking about 3 years ago? They screwed him the same way they screwed these guys. Anyway, Courtney predicted everything. It was sick. Like every category, bam, bam, bam. Even the weird categories like documentary film or animated short, where you couldn't possibly have known. Still, she predicted it correctly. Hi, it's Mark, and I thought that was great. Hit the notification bell. You'll know whenever there's a new video being dropped, and please subscribe to our channel to help us save the universe.